Despite the sniper lady using an aura bullet, it appears utterly ineffective. Feeling scared, she contemplates a retreat. Yet, just as she turns to run, Daesung sends his dagger weapon, stabbing the assassin in the leg and causing her to trip over. As the sniper lady turns her face, her target stands directly in front of her, reminiscent of a scene from a horror movie. Daesung bluffs, claiming that the bullet struck him on the head but could not possibly kill him. In response, the sniper lady swiftly draws a gun, pointing it at him, and demands to know where he has come from. The demon lord speaks nothing but the truth, stating that he hails from nowhere but hell, yet the lady would certainly not accept this reality. Overwhelmed by fear and anxiety, she fires multiple aura bullets at Daesung, hoping to see him die. Suddenly, he reappears behind her, catching her off guard with his unexpected presence. She finds it incomprehensible, as she is certain her target collapsed, yet he stands there, completely unscathed. Our boy grabs the lady by her neck, throttling her, and slams her against the wall. He uses his power, enveloping the lady in a demonic sluggish material that terrifies her. As she faints, Daesung clarifies that he has no intention of killing her. He picks up the bullets and searches for the lady's belongings in search of clues. Then, he places the bullets onto her head, forcing her to regain her senses. Covered in sweat, the lady screams out, overwhelmed by the disgusting hands emerging from the creature summoned by Daesung. Daesung adopts a gang leader persona, demanding that the lady answer all his questions peacefully if she wishes to live. Spotting family pictures in her luggage, he questions her about who sent her to kill him and his family. Feeling anxious, she realizes she cannot disclose anything about the Hongma clan. However, she suddenly recalls a gangster who has gone missing and seizes the opportunity to use his name, telling Daesung that it was Kim Seong-hyun who sent her. She elaborates that Kim Seong-hyun is the same noob whom Daesung had smashed a while back in the private loan organization, arguing that he has robbed his safe. In exchange for his location, she pleads for her freedom. In response, Daesung throws a bullet at the lady, piercing a hole in her shoulder. She comments that she has done as he asked and has told him everything. Our boy maintains his gangster act, arguing that it is quite suspicious for an assassin to provide sensitive information so easily. Sensing a grain of salt in her words, the lady, drenched in fear, realizes she has made a mistake by being so hasty. Daesung politely inquires once more about who ordered the murder. She thinks to herself that she has already failed the request, and even if she were to survive this encounter, the psychopath head of the Hongma clan would certainly kill her. Considering her death inevitable, she shouts that she will never reveal this information, even if asked 1,000 times, and attempts to commit suicide. However, before she can do so, our gangster fires a bullet, punching a massive hole through her body trunk. The assassin lady coughs up blood and collapses, dead. Daesung grows irritated, realizing he could not uncover who was behind all of this. He then gazes at her lifeless body, contemplating ways to dispose of it. He recalls an item he possesses that could prove useful, yet he is reluctant to use it. Instead, he sifts through his journal memories, searching for any relevant recollections about the dead keyword. After scanning 134 pages, he opens a portal to the Pantheon. Fully aware that this area should be off-limits due to nearby gate fractures, he nevertheless decides to cover the body. Covering the body with a blue cloth, he steps into the Pantheon. Upon entering, he is welcomed and requests the system to recreate the 134th page of the journal, where the soul prison is recorded. As he sifts through his memories, he recalls that the soul prison was the primary weapon of one of the 15 rulers of the states in hell, known as the Ghost King. He recalls his fight, remembering that the weapon he acquired is an artifact capable of summoning the dead when imbued with one's own blood. Initially, when our protagonist obtained this item, he thought it would be incredibly useful. However, to his dismay, the commander he summoned turned out to be far too weak to be of any real assistance. As the 198th day of the 67th year is recreated, he considers that this item might prove useful for disposing of the bodies. Our hero finds himself in front of the River of the Dead. He recalls that the Ghost King's territory lies on the other side of the river. The last time he saw this river, there was a boat available to cross it. But this time, there was nothing at all. Thinking of swimming across the river, he realizes that it is impossible. Even a single dip in the water is enough to disintegrate a person's body. As he contemplates how to reach the opposite end, the first part of the quest begins as many small heavenly beings, resembling heavenly insects, swarm toward him. These bugs, known as righteous white pillars, begin firing toxic sludge balls in his direction. Daesung expertly dodges the attacks, wondering if defeating these monsters will earn him a boat as a reward. He draws his weapon and slices through one of the bugs. As the creature is killed, it explodes, releasing numerous poison bombs, each resembling a poison bullet. Deciding against dodging the attacks, he wards them all off with a simple barrier. However, he finds the process annoying and slow, dealing with the bugs one at a time, and he swiftly targets another one approaching him. He then dashes forward, instantly slaying the rest of the bugs, slashing through all of them with ease. Upon completing the quest, he receives 50% of the implementation rate, and is awarded an armor type called the Vermin's Blessing. The status of the armor reveals that it makes its user immune to the energy of the dead, suggesting that he might be able to swim while wearing it. Without wasting a second, he dons the armor and swims across the river. A notification appears, informing the demon lord that his swimming skills are admired by the demon beasts of the pantheon, who express their apologies for not being more helpful. This only serves to irritate him further. He quickly reaches the Ghost King's territory, and to his surprise, he discovers that the undead castle has vanished into thin air. Another notification pops up, with the demon beasts apologizing for the disappearance of the castle, which only aggravates Daesung further. He contemplates whether completing some side quests might lead him back to the castle. Just then, a long architectural structure known as the Heavenly Obelisk appears before him, featuring a gate at its base. Just as he wonders when the next quest will begin, a system window opens before his eyes, requesting him to kill 1,000 heavenly creatures within 2 hours to complete the second quest. As this message appears, a monster materializes before the demon lord, and he instantly recognizes it as a commanding general. Assuming they are demons, he shouts at the monsters to kneel before their lord. However, another notification pops up, informing him that the demon beasts are sorry for the betrayal of their companions. As the monsters begin running toward him, he kills several of them but notices that they are missing their cores. He wonders if the architectural pillar is the culprit behind this anomaly. He activates blood neutralization, transforming himself into a half-human, half-demon hybrid, boosting his stats and skill attack power by 300%. With this newfound strength, he dashes forward, taking down large groups of the commanding generals as he moves through them. However, when he reaches the vicinity of the pillar, he considers that it might be more effective to destroy it from the inside. He runs toward the gate and enters the tower, killing all who stand in his way. In mere seconds, he destroys the entire structure. As the tower crumbles, the suspicious coreless demons disintegrate, vanishing into thin air. With this, the second quest comes to an end, and the implementation rate of the soul prison is completed. He receives 2 orbs as a reward, one purple and one orange. He thinks that one of them must be a reward while the other could be an implementation item. He collects the purple orb and checks it first. To his delight, it turned out to be the weapon he was seeking. It grants him 3 skills. The first allows him to imprison a dead target. The second enables him to resurrect it. And the third lets him peek into its memory. While his main purpose was to collect corpses for information, he is disappointed to discover that he can imprison only 20 souls at a time. He then collects the other orb, which reveals itself to be a rune of expansion. He collects the rune and engraves it into his soul prison artifact, increasing its capacity from 20 to 100, which makes it sufficient for his needs. Satisfied, he gathers the soul prison and decides to leave the pantheon, having fulfilled his purpose. However, suddenly the demonic beasts send him another message, begging him to be cautious. He considers them a nuisance. A golden panel opens in front of him, but he dismisses it as a waste of time, uninterested in whatever it may offer. Shaking off the demonic beast's meaningless riddles, he exits the pantheon. Upon returning to the location where he left the corpse of the sniper lady, he finds that she is nowhere to be found. A corpse cannot walk on its own, or can it? Daesung feels tired and decides to return home. As he enters, his sister peeks at him and remarks that he is late. Noting that the rice soup is growing cold, she calls him in and reheats the soup. As they begin to eat, their mother turns off the television. Our boy starts a conversation, arguing about how much the world has changed. His mother expresses her worry that he might be shocked, which is why she hadn't told him anything. She apologizes for feeling useless as a mother. Daesung reassures her, saying he is grateful that she has survived for all this time. He then asks his mother and sister if they want to get something for themselves. His mother blushes at the question and offers him more soup instead. After lunch, he calls his friend Chanho, informing him that he is going underground for a while. Chanho asks if this is in preparation for the licensing exam. The demon lord replies that it is similar to training, but that he actually found a bug that disappeared, and he needs to look for it. His friend seems to have no clue what he is talking about. Daesung then requests Chanho to take care of his sister and mother while he is away, deciding to stand out in an attempt to lure out those behind the assassin lady. The scene shifts to the Hogma clan building, where discussions unfold about how to handle the extraordinary new hunter. Upon hearing of the slaughter of the B-rank assassin lady, Seokwu suggests forgetting about him. With a villainous smile, he proposes sabotaging the ranking test instead. In saying this, he turns to Jin Cheol, the rank A punk in a water tank, and inquires if he is ready. Claiming he was born ready, a scientist prepares to infuse him with a mysterious serum. Smiling sadistically, Siakwu warns the A-ranker of the mind-breaking pain he will experience. Confidently, the guy responds that he has been prepared ever since he joined. Receiving the green light from Siakwu, the mad scientist initiates the process. Bubbles start bursting in the water, causing Jinchul's veins to bulge through the diving suit. Gritting his teeth, the A-ranker's eyes turn white, and magical energy begins to illuminate the skin over his veins. Suddenly, the scientist begins to sweat bullets and warns that Jinchul might die if they continue. However, Siakwu remains unbothered. He stresses that he would never recruit someone so weak. With 90% of the serum injected, Jinchul howls in agony, his eyes nearly popping out of their sockets. Just then his heart rate flatlines. Jinchul goes limp, prompting the scientist to declare him dead. Yet, Siakwu shushes him. The A-ranker's hands start to move, shocking the white coat as his subject's heart begins to beat once more. Now with luminous green eyes wide open, Jinchul shatters the tank with a powerful punch. He exits the tank, exploding with energy. Smiling creepily, Siakwu compliments his little test subject and expresses eagerness for its performance in the following days. Meanwhile, our protagonist is on the roof, chatting with Chanho. His bestie informs him that he'll need to use the association's equipment. Reading this, he conducts an experiment of his own. Grabbing a stick, our boy discovers an OP loophole: invisible hell armor. Noticing that the hell armor is invisible, our boy pulls out the judgment dagger from his inventory. Upon commanding the system to recognize the wooden stick as his dagger, his weapon disappears, and the system confirms that the stick is now overwritten by the dagger. So like a student from Hogwarts, my guy can now destroy his enemies with his tiny wand. This also gives him a new idea. So he enters the Pantheon once more, now stepping into the Flame King's territory. He expresses dissatisfaction upon visiting the place again. Suddenly, an army of Orkiel's servants, snow-white armored wolves with crimson eyes, surrounds him. The system instantly presents a quest to take down 1,000 of them, of course in exchange for half of the weapon he seeks, the Hellfire Greatsword. Our hero slices his hand, displeased about having to use his soul prison on such trivial foes. One of the wolves quickly appears before him, but our hero remains unfazed, ready to start his killing spree. Using his insane speed and flying dagger, our hero slices through the massive, heavily geared wolves like butter. With 33 fallen soldiers in his palms, he summons them from the corpse prison. Once more, the pack of wolves charges at him. This time, however, a carbon copy of their own kind, a shadow, crushes the head of its brethren. The army of Orkiel's minions freezes in confusion as exact replicas of them emerge from the ground. With a command from their master, the shadow army rushes in his stead. The two sides clash in a bloody battle while the ruler of hell casually pulls out a smoke. However, he quickly coughs it out, perplexed by how Chanho could enjoy such a crappy thing. Soon, one of the enemies tears through his minion army and approaches our demon king. To the assailant's surprise, the shadow's arms catch it from behind as it regenerates. The ruler of hell relishes the moment, watching his fearless, undying minions do the work for him. Yet, tired of the slow progress, he realizes there is another quest standing between him and the weapon. A fiery aura surrounds our boy as he kicks the ground, shooting into the sky like a firework. Deeming the enemies unworthy of wasting even 2 hours on, he decides to annihilate them in an instant. A devilish smile spreads across his face as he plunges back to Earth at breakneck speed. A blinding golden comet descends onto the desert plains, unleashing its shockwave with a gigantic explosion that wipes out all monsters in sight. The scene shifts to Soul Clan HQ, where samurai lady, Shin Choyoung, practices her skills by slicing up a purple dummy-like monster. As the holographic simulation finishes, 2 men observing from a glass window gauge her abilities. The Soul Clan's leader, Huang Junyoung, remarks that she's built some dangerous habits. The department head comments that they can improve that flaw since they have 10 days. So the clan leader orders him to increase the difficulty of her simulations faster, since they have to beat the Hongma clan's mad dog. Adjusting his glasses, the department head asks if the leader is referring to Jin Cheol. The leader states that Choyoung would be unbeatable if not for the Hongma clan's ace. Enraged, he curses the clan for their dirty tactics. The department head attempts to cool him down by reminding him of a past ban, but Junyoung insists that the Hongma, as always, will also play dirty in the upcoming competition. The department head states the obvious, noting that the stage is ultimately set for the top 2, Choyoung and Jinchul. However, the astute clan leader suggests that this only holds true if there is not another monstrous underdog yet to be revealed. Meanwhile, our hero receives messages of gratitude from the demons, fast approaching the end of his quest. Annoyed by the notifications while smoking atop the corpses of his enemies, he complains that there should be a mute button. Hearing one of the nearly dead wolves growl, he tells it to shut up while he's smoking, ending its life with a stab. This death marks his 1,000th kill and grants him half of the Hellfire Greatsword. The souls of his enemies begin gathering into an orb before him, forming a special item. Reading that he must offer it to an altar, the demon lord is displeased having to search for it like a peasant. However, as soon as he collects the soul stone, a giant structure emerges from the ground before him, making his job easier. Thus, the second quest for the great sword begins. The ruler of hell must now offer the soul stone and be recognized by the guardian serpent. Wasting no time, he places it into a sacrificial bowl. Suddenly, a gargantuan snake is summoned. Narrowing his eyes, our boy starts the fight doing an epic stare down with the serpent behemoth. A panel appears before him revealing the victory condition: to answer the serpent's questions. Puzzled, the demon king scoffs at having to do a quiz of all things. He gives up and commands the snake to ask him a question. But what the guardian serpent utters sounds more incoherent than Chinese rap music at double speed. My guy sighs in frustration. Furious, he shoots his dagger straight into its eye, making the beats howl in pain. Not satisfied so easily, he waves his hand to the other side, forcing the dagger through its head, out the other eye. Summoning his dagger back, the demon lord pounces at the serpent, seething with rage at the system for thinking he's gotten soft. Challenging it to give its all against the absolute ruler, he pounds the guardian beast's head repeatedly. The serpent's head swells up like a muffin from the beating and then explodes while our hero bathes in its blood like a badass. However, with his experience, he finds the battle suspiciously easy. Turning around, he recognizes the ancient pattern of regenerating enemies. Confidently recalling how to defeat it, our boy invites the beast to attack him, and the snake hears his call. Flying at him with an open mouth, it traps him within its jaw as a blue flame of regeneration flickers inside. However, our hero knows this all too well. Without hesitation, he enters the guardian serpent's mouth. Perplexed, the snake turns its head. Suddenly, its pupils burst as the snake vomits him out, and our protagonist makes an epic landing, holding a fiery blue weapon in his hand, the Hellfire Greatsword. The system congratulates him for collecting the sword, but reports that its skills will be sealed until he completes the quest. Nonetheless, he confidently declares that even this is sufficient to defeat the oversized worm. Holding the fiery greatsword in both hands, our boy lowers his new weapon onto the guardian serpent. Its blazing energy travels along the beast's entire body, from head to tail, until the body is sliced cleanly into two halves. The quest reaches its conclusion. The snake can't hear the answer if it isn't alive. Gripping the fully active greatsword tightly, our demon king wears a mad grin, eagerly anticipating what comes next. A panel materializes, announcing the trial of scorching fire. He must endure a full 10 days of burning agony once again to completely unlock the legendary armament, or so it seems. The flames engulf him, yet my guy maintains a cool demeanor. He commands the sword to quiet down and stop burning its rightful owner. However, the timer keeps ticking. With an attitude even more fiery than the sword, he demands the Flame King to come to his senses, and the timer promptly hits 0. The sword responds to its master and begs for forgiveness. This calms our hero's temper, allowing him to greet his old partner. Since all the demons were cast away to the ultimate destination of souls in hell, chaos ensues after his departure. Our hero feels relieved to have found his weapon without needing to visit that decrepit place. The demon sword proclaims that it has been waiting for the ruler to return, making him wonder if his old partner resents him, but the Flame King humbly says that it does not despise him for leaving, but rather the aftermath of it. Confused, the monarch of hell asks it to elaborate. The demon sword explains that hell was invaded by heavenly beings, who took advantage of the demons' powerlessness in the absence of their ruler. Thus they sealed all of hell, banishing all demon folk into the pandemonium. The Flame King pleads with its owner that it reluctantly got swallowed by the snake and avoided banishment like its brethren. Thus it patiently awaited the arrival of its Lord and Savior. The sword humbly asks his reason for returning. My guy promises to share its purpose when the time arrives. Changing the subject, he asks his demon sword if it recognizes the orb of energy dropped by the guardian serpent. So the Flame King warns him. The Flame King recalls sensing the same mysterious energy from the heavenly beings that invaded hell. Slightly unnerved, the ruler of hell casually raises his hand, absorbing the orb with the confidence that the system won't deceive him with a fake reward. Successfully collecting it, a panel appears, stating that one more is required to gain access to a currently hidden area. When asked if he plans to return to Earth, he remarks that there are still more rewards for him to claim. Meanwhile, back on Earth, an employee in the Soul Clan is chatting with Chanho about the viral massacre video, forcing him to awkwardly conceal his friend's identity. To his surprise, the director appears and invites him for a private conversation. Chanho humbly asks why he has been singled out. The handsome director simply responds that he wants to enjoy a smoke together. Now on the rooftop, sharing a cigarette, the director questions whether Chanho was truly at the center of the massacre. Chanho quickly realizes that the director is assessing whether he can recruit the infamous awakened individual. Not wanting to expose his friend, Chanho claims that there's nothing significant to report. The director, looking philosophical, expresses his determination to recruit our boy, no matter the cost. Chanho awkwardly smiles, feigning ignorance, and steers the conversation toward the guild's ace, Cho Young. At this, the director suddenly falls silent. When Chanho gently prompts him again, the man reveals that she has been pushing herself worryingly hard. 7 days before Daesung's licensing test, Cho Young is seen training in her most challenging simulation yet at the Seoul Clan HQ. The B-rank samurai lady instantly slices her practice dummies before they appear. But surrounded by more than she can handle, she gets overwhelmed. This allows another dummy to bite her shoulder off, so the leader immediately terminates the simulation. Startled, Cho Young begs him to wait and give her a chance, but as the enemies vanish, she turns to face the clan leader, who calls her over to discuss her performance. Frustrated, Cho Young exclaims that she would have done better if given the chance. With a calm demeanor, Jun Young points out that she's putting herself under too much pressure. Cho Young in response complains that he has always encouraged her to push for what she wants, even if it means enduring hardship. Maintaining his cool, the clan leader clarifies that this advice applies strictly to physical training. Cho Young, with a hint of sarcasm, remarks that she understands her body's limits better than he does, and insists she hasn't overdone it. Jun Young, now turning sarcastic himself, asks if she really believes she knows herself better than an AI. He tells her to compare her current mental state to that of a normal one. Seeing her haywire graph, Cho Young regretfully admits her mistake. Jun Young, gritting his teeth, asks if she still hasn't noticed her abnormal mental state flagged by the AI, but with a somber look, she mumbles that it's all to get into the top 5. Hearing this, the clan leader questions her true motivation for wanting to rank up. He wonders if her goal is to gain access to the A-rank gates, where she could earn far more glory and wealth. But Cho Young, gripping her bottle until it shatters, bites her lip. She firmly states that her desire isn't for money or fame, but to wipe out all the monsters in the world. 2 days later at the Hongma clan building, Seokwoo makes his way into a heavily secured area. Using his fingerprints, he unlocks a top security door, which creaks open to reveal a mysterious room. Repulsed by the stench, Seokwoo is surprised to find that his subject has been doing well. As he mumbles about changing the ventilation and lighting, his eyes turn to a guy hunched over, devouring a corpse. Jinchol, chewing on raw flesh, glares like an animal at the man who is rambling about him. Completely unconcerned, Seokwoo casually comments that the A-ranker should continue feasting and rest well, so the monster serum can keep working. Gazing at the blood-covered demonic hunter, the long-haired psycho reveals his excitement for his pet to become the star of the upcoming licensing test. And just like that, 2 more days pass. Our protagonist is busy grinding quests to boost his power in the Pantheon. So when the Flame King asks when they will leave Hell, the Absolute Ruler announces that their time has come. With the last 3 days flying by, the day of the test arrives. In the arena, the commentator announces how, with more people awakening each year, the competition continues to intensify. Journalists eagerly snap photos of the candidates lined up, but their attention is soon drawn to a sleek white Lamborghini. The crowd instantly recognizes its owner, and they rush over to greet the 2 stars of the Hongma clan. A journalist gets the first opportunity to interview Seokwoo. Without beating around the bush, she bluntly asks how he feels about the Hongma clan's return after being banned for cheating 2 years prior. Seokwoo, inwardly cursing the annoying lady, calmly replies that he regrets the so-called accident from back then. Another smug journalist calls him out, accusing him of dodging responsibility with empty words. Seokwoo, unfazed, pats the man's shoulder and confidently declares that this time, the match will be fair and square. With that, the 2 make their way into the stadium. Annoyed by the criticism, Jinchul fumes, upset that Seokwoo didn't lash out in return. But Seokwoo calmly reminds his pet to enjoy himself, but warns him from getting emotional and to stay cautious, since they can't afford another ban. Overhearing this conversation, a large man in white overhears the conversation. The Hongma leader narrows his eyes, instantly recognizing the heavily disguised silhouette of none other than the Seoul clan leader, Jun Young. He tries to taunt him, saying that he looks like a gorilla dressed up like that, but the graceful old man replies that it's a tactic to avoid the paparazzi. Jun Young fires back that he doesn't like flaunting his fame like a certain someone. Tipping his hat, the legendary clan leader analyzes Jinchul's aura and instantly recognizes its abnormal nature, which has been cleverly concealed. With a smug grin, Seokwoo tries to brag, suggesting that Jun Young is quite focused on his candidate. But the old man quickly fires back, joking that he hopes Seokwoo hasn't brought another cheater like the last time. After their heated exchange, the Hongma members walk away. Jinchul grumbles that the Seoul clan leader was staring at him like a creep, but Seokwoo brushes it off, telling him to ignore the old man in white and focus on his real target. The cutie passing by. Shin Cho-young. Jinchul eyes her down like a pervert, commenting that she'll be easy to take down. However, Seok-woo warns him not to underestimate her, reminding him that the Seoul clan leader has trained her well. But hearing this only excites Jinchul further. His disgusting face contorts, eager for the chance to crush her. Meanwhile, Junyoung continues analyzing Jinchul from afar, trying to unravel what the Hongma clan might be plotting. But suddenly, his attention is drawn to something far more ominous. Daesung arrives, radiating a monstrous aura. As he walks by, the Seoul clan leader shudders, unsettled by the dark energy emanating from him. Surprised by his shaken demeanor, Cho-young asks her clan leader what's wrong. With his jaw still slightly ajar, Junyoung warns her to stay cautious. She brushes off his concern, confidently promising that she won't let the Hongma clan pull any tricks on her. But Junyoung, narrowing his eyes, clarifies that he's more worried about the other person who passed by her. With 30 minutes left, an announcement calls all candidates to gather in Exam Hall 3. Finishing his call with Chanho, our hero scans his fingerprints and receives a special uniform from a vending machine-like station. In their new cyberpunk-style suits, all the candidates, including our favorite grumbling geezer, assemble in the exam hall. The old man proudly reflects on the hundreds of complaints that got him in. Fired up, he resolves himself to crush our protagonist for daring to touch his head rounder than a baby's butt. But soon after, a massive guy picks him up by the skull and tells him to move aside. Swallowing his pride, the geezer gives up on his revenge. So while the geezer is depressed, our guy arrives on the scene in his new suit, ready to dominate everyone who dares to oppose him. As the exam begins, competitors gather in the arena, where purple rings descend from above. The supervisor greets the crowd and launches into an explanation, noting that these rings represent the 3 floors of the gate, designed specifically for the licensing exam. He further explains that each floor has its own unique environments and distinct clear conditions. As murmurs spread among the participants, a ghostly pale kid questions when they will receive weapons. In response, the supervisor sharply clarifies that no weapons will be provided, and no one is permitted to bring any equipment other than the suits given. This announcement causes an uproar, with complaints that no one can fight without weapons. At this moment, a cute AI hologram appears, announcing its role in tracking everyone's progress. The cheerful hologram reveals that the test is not about the hunter's fighting ability, but rather their natural skill in surviving the harshest conditions. With that clarification, the gate opens. The participants then find themselves on the first floor of the gate, a rainforest. Everyone is soon drenched in sweat and struggling to breathe. Meanwhile, a team of analysts, watching through various cameras, laughs at the low quality of the applicants, as they speculate about the possibility of everyone failing. A mushroom-headed guy compliments Cho-young for keeping a cool head and conserving his energy. Seeing everyone compliment his ace, Junyoung smiles in satisfaction. Meanwhile, others praise Jinchul from the Hongma clan. Seok-woo glances at Junyoung's reaction, assuming that his shock stems from Jinchul's performance. However, the old man's expression remains frozen as panic spreads among the crowd, all eyes on a certain cool guy. Seok-woo feels appalled, recognizing the very person he sent an assassin after. It seems unbelievable that Daesung radiates no aura, with not a drop of sweat visible on his body. Meanwhile, it is revealed that our boy drank a potion, making him immune to all environmental factors. He laughs inwardly, knowing it's forbidden, but only if he gets caught. So when purple bands appear on everyone's wrists, the cute AI announces the start of the first round. It reveals that the clear condition for the first floor is to hunt 20 swamp orcs. With a confident grin, our hero kicks off as soon as the round starts, prompting everyone to scramble to avoid being left behind. In a true test to filter out the dimwits, a thirsty hunter falls victim to an obvious water fountain trap. A sticky worm emerges from the ground, swallowing him whole and eliminating him. However, he is saved by the suit's safety measures. Meanwhile, our hero sprints through the forest in search of his target. At the same time, the rescue team extracting the eliminated candidate suddenly receives a signal, with the order to track down candidate 104, Han Dae-sung.